We have a very special day today because we're back on Anime Last Stand. World 2, Revert. Their first update, the JJK update. We have Jogo first up. We're doing the showcases today. Very old-fashioned, old-school ALS showcases like we used to do back in the good old days of ALS. So, Jogo does have VFX. I'm very excited to see that VFX. At least they're trying, right? This is a brand new unit, brand new model. He actually doesn't even look that bad. I think he looks pretty cool. So I've got glitched on him. I've got S- damage, triple S range, double S SPA. So not the best stats ever, but pretty good. And also no skill tree, so whatever. But okay, placement cost of 300. Definitely a meta early unit. On placement doing about 65k-ish. 65k for 6.27. Line AoE. A VFX that we saw. He just shoots out like a blue... Why'd I say blue? Shoots like a ball of fire. Okay. Passive on placement is Hothead, which I think might be kind of meta, because like 1% damage per burn stack affecting enemies in range. Imagine you have like 100 enemies in range, all of them have like 10 burn stacks. You're giving this guy like 1000% damage then, but I don't know, I'll have to do more testing with that, especially with like Escanor and Rengoku. But pretty good. The more burning enemies you have, the more damage he does, so could be really strong on the right team. Upgrade 4, a new attack called a Mini Meteor. See the animation here. Circle AoE. No animation? Hold on. I don't know. It's like no animation, but now doing 1.32. There it is. Okay, Mini Meteor does have an animation. Cool. 1.32 mil over 5.88. Okay. So far, not bad at all for having burn and the burn passive. This passive is actually pretty good, I think. This one. But ability on upgrade 8 and new attack called Geyser. Becoming a larger circle AoE. Geyser animation. Let's see that right there. Boom! A fire shoots up from the floor. Kinda scuffed, but it's like rectangles of fire shooting up. Oh yeah. And then a Fireball Jawbreaker, new ability. So, 5 times damage to enemies within the inner 50% of his range. Apply 5 burn stacks to each enemy hit. So, inner 50% of his range, I think he'd probably hit these guys, I'm pretty sure. There's no like indicator for it as far as I can tell, unless there maybe is one when we use it. So, max upgrade, 4.62 mil over 5.49 seconds, 56.6 range, if I use the ability, okay. No indicator for where it is, no VFX for it either. I'm just gonna guess that it works, but I don't know. No animation. Okay. That was Jogo. Max upgrade. 4.62 mil over 5.49. Not bad. I think he could be meta with burn teams, especially because he had local cooldown. How many placements? He is actually a 3 placement unit. So if you have max Jogos everywhere, imagine every single one of these uses their ability at the same time. A 15 burn stacks to each enemy hit. That gives him, like, depending on the amount of enemies, a crazy damage buff. So I think he probably is meta. Definitely meta early because he's pretty cheap. And that was Jogo. And moving on. Okay, moving on to Majito. Glitch, triple S, everything. Thank you, Retired Ben, for showcasing this one. Okay. On placement, he's doing a line AoE of 167k every 4.66. We do have 2 placements of him. And apparently cost a... How much to place down? I don't know. I don't know how much he costs to place down. 600. Okay. But all triple S, level 41 is a big thing to keep in mind. Okay, this guy's level 41. Because one of our showcasers here, Retired Ben, a little bit broke on XP food. So, yeah, level 41, unfortunately. So keep that in mind with the damage numbers. They could be higher. I don't know how much higher. Maybe like 1.5x higher or something. I don't know. But okay. Looks like he has 2 stacks of bleed, maybe. Unless that's just a bug. I don't know, might be a bug. Okay, yeah, attacks apply 1 additional bleed stack. So I guess he has 2 forms of bleed, 2 stacks of bleed. Stat debuffs and stuns have half the duration and half the potency. Ignore the law back there. But, okay. He's got 2 bleed, double bleed, and auto transfiguration. Every 15 seconds cycle between 1 active buff, damage, range, and SPA. Start at 5%, gain 5% per full cycle, and cap at 25%. Okay. So he actually buffs himself up to 25% cycling, damage, range, and SPA. Pretty good buff, actually. Pretty good, like, self-buff. And he has double bleed. So he might pair very well with, like, bleed units in the future. I don't know. I don't know who's, like, meta bleed stuff right now. But double bleed unit. Line AoE. Animation on him, by the way. It just has, like, a pretty basic purple explosion, I think, like at the enemy location. I don't know. Pretty simple. I'm looking at the wrong one, am I? Yeah. Upgrade 4, 1.24 mil, or 4.66. Upgrade 5, new attack called Black Flash, circle AoE, and new animation, I think. Nope, there it is. New animation, Black Flash, red, awesome. Boom, Black Flash, awesome. If we upgrade him here, upgrade this one. Upgrade a 9, we get Touchy Domain and Body Repel. So new attack and ability. So Touchy Domain, and he's full AoE. What? Full AoE. Okay, Body Repel is full AoE, that's actually crazy. Keep in mind, double bleed, reduced debuffs on him, and cycling between buffs on himself, which currently is at 20%. So, okay, so far pretty good for full AoE. And then Touchy Domain, deal 500 million damage to all enemies in range. That's a crazy nuke, bro. Global cooldown though. And mark survivors for execution. Marked enemies die after falling below 20% HP. This guy's insane. This is actually meta. Wow, this is like top meta for Infinite because we now have the first executing passive ability in World 2. 20% execute and 500 mil nuke. That's actually insane. So full AoE, 12.5 mil at level 41. So keep in mind his damage probably at max level is more closer to like 20 mil than it is to 12. So yeah, this guy's actually insane. Double bleed, self-buffing, 25% SPA right now, only 3.5 SPA. He's only ground though, so that's a flaw. I don't know. I mean, if you were max level, he'd be like doing 20 mil, I think, and double bleed and crazy nuke. So this guy's definitely insane. Thank you, Ben, for showcasing again. Kind of scuffed, triple S everything, but level 41. So I don't know. That was Majito. I think he's probably the best unit, maybe. Okay, next up we're checking out Choso, Shiny Blood Brother. Thank you, Beanos87, for showcasing this one. So apparently with Overlord and level 81, I think. So not max level, but pretty much max level. So Overlord damage on this guy. No skill tree. The passives we have here, Blood Control. He has a blood meter cap of 150. Gain 1 blood per bleed application, and 3 blood when this unit eliminates an enemy. So, per kill. 3 per kill, 1 per bleed application. Poisonous Blood. After an enemy accumulates at least 20 seconds of bleed from this Choso, following hits apply Poison, which is a 35% dot. Okay. Brother. While the same owner of Itadoki is in range, gain 3 blood whenever that Itadoki eliminates an enemy. Okay, so just makes him ramp up faster. That doesn't really change anything about his kit. So, interesting. If you run him with Yuji, he ramps up easier, but check out the damage here. Bleed, of course, doing 30%. And he's a line AoE on placement, a very small line AoE. And the VFX of it, I don't know if he has any. I'm trying to look like he just kind of punches, right? Oh, little tiny blood shot. This gives around 3x speed, probably. Hold on. Let's see it. Little tiny blood shot. There we go. Blood Edge, upgrade 4. Circle AoE. Let's see this right here. Okay, he does like a bunch of little blood shots in a circle. Interesting. Okay, like a star of blood. Huh. Upgrading him here. We have Flowing Crimson Scale coming up on upgrade 8. Kind of expensive to max out, but ability. Gain 0.3% damage per blood stack at the time of activation. Drain 3 blood per second. Cannot gain blood from any source while active. Replace attack with Supernova. Upon reaching 0 blood, end Flowing Crimson Scale and remove its damage/range bonus. Gain plus 50% damage for 30 seconds, detonate all bleed stacks within range, and gain 1% damage per bleed stack detonated, up to 75% for 30 seconds. Okay. All that to say, he pretty much gains like a super beast mode. So, want to use ability. Let's see it right here. He starts using his blood, using the blood meter. This is kind of what the blood meter is for, is to get him into beast mode. Go into beast mode. New attack is Supernova. So, looks like he has a new attack animation, maybe? Not really. Kind of looks like the same one. But he's losing his blood here, but gaining more damage over time. Which I think... Okay, yeah, per blood stack at the time of activation. So it's a one-time 45% damage buff from being capped out on blood. And then he ramps up afterwards, I guess, for like... Loses 50%. Oh, he loses 50% damage. It's worded weird. Gain minus 50% damage. Either way, he's got like a super buff mode and kind of ramps down with the bleed meter. So he's okay. He doesn't actually seem that good. I think you're better off using like Majito for bleed, obviously. But Hero Shiny Choso. Of course, this was with Overlord level 81. And thank you Beanos87 again for showcasing. But that was Choso. Next up, we have Itadoki. We have Yuji. Thank you to Cyber202 for showcasing this one. So we've glitched on this guy with apparently a maxed out elemental skill tree. So he's doing 146k every 4.62, circle AoE. And he's got a bunch of different passives. So first passive, Black Sparks, he's going to have a base crit chance of 30% and convert over crit pretty much. Anything over 100% crit chance converted into crit damage. Okay. Also 100% crit damage, didn't read that part. And then the zone damage, after 2 consecutive critical hits, gain a plus 70% crit chance and a minus 20% SPA. Wow, okay. So he actually is going to self-buff his own crit chance after 2 consecutive crits. Pretty easy to get. The Blade Impacts deal an additional 50% damage after 2 seconds. The follow-up uses Yuji's current crit chance and current crit damage, and can critically hit. Okay. Each follow-up crit while in the zone is inactive. Wait, what? So, okay, no. He gains himself crit chance while the zone is inactive. Bonus can accumulate resets when the zone activates. Okay. Temporary crit chance buff from this part right here goes away when the zone activates, and then I guess this is like a... Every attack has a delayed 50% damage follow-up and can crit, so it's actually kind of crazy. And then Brothers, okay. If you have Todo or Choso in his range, he gains up to 30% more crit damage. So you probably want a crit build on this guy, but we have an elemental build on him today. But either way, thank you Cyber for showcasing. So, let's get into the upgrades. So far, Circle AoE. See the upgrades here. New attack on upgrade 3, Manji Strike. 1.09 mil over 3.08. Now he's doing still Circle AoE. Now he's like a barrage of blue flashes here. Black Spark on upgrade 6. Let's see what we get here. He is a large Circle AoE now, really big Circle AoE. And his animation is a Black Flash. So, goes in, Black Flash Punch. Caps out at 4.39 mil or 4.62. I mean, okay. The damage numbers alone are pretty okay, but they're kind of low compared to like Majito, for example. Majito is doing numbers, man. Majito is broken. But if we're going off like the crit here, so 30% base crit chance, 100% crit damage. Anything above 100% crit chance gets converted into crit damage. And then has a 50% damage follow-up that can crit after 2 seconds of the first attack. Which I guess we can't really see like an animation for, but I don't know. Sounds like he's really good in ways that you can't really like see. Just because his damage number doesn't reflect everything he does. So, with crit and follow-ups, I think this guy's actually really broken. Thank you, Cyber, for showcasing. Yeah, he seems really good. That was Yuji. Okay, for the last 2 showcases, we have Audio here. Thank you, Audio, for showcasing. First up, we have Hanabi. So, Hanabi with Glitch to level 72. 1.5k placement cost, 2 placement. We do have Pride buff, by the way, Astronaut buff on every single unit we've showcased today. So, 20% damage buff on them. Glitch Hanabi here. So, on placement, line AoE with the slow effect, 50% slow, Curse Root passive, doing 600k every 5.75. And the attack animation is like a green bolt that explodes. Okay, kind of cool. Ground only for now. Oh wait, no, the explosion might have been from... Yeah, that's from Tatsumaki. Okay, it's a green bolt, no explosion. Plant Strike on upgrade 4. Comes a Circle AoE, still ground. Ground only, but... Circle AoE... What was that? Wait, what? Hold on, 1x speed. What is the attack animation? Okay, a bunch of like poles rise up from the ground, kind of like Jogo's Geyser one, but it's just with a bunch of trees apparently. Okay. I mean, ALS comeback, man, ALS comeback. Disaster Roots, here we go, upgrade 7. Thank you, Audio. Cursed Bud as well, upgrade 8. Max upgrade ability. Okay, Disaster Roots attack animation. I mean, same effect, but it's kind of cool. A bunch of trees blowing up around a circle. Okay. 10.8 million damage every 5.75. Actually pretty good damage, I think. Like, compared to the units we've seen so far, actually pretty good. And by the way, if I didn't emphasize the passives enough earlier, 50% slow effect, and then a 20% range buff to nature units, so really just supporting stuff with the passives, but then the ability. Upon activation, apply poison, and 75% enhanced slow to ground enemies in this unit's range. Replace or reapply the slow when an affected enemy has a weaker slow. And it is a 100-second local cooldown, and of course 2 placement unit, so you could have 2 of them going if you're just one guy. I mean, kind of okay support. Want to use ability? Let's check if it has an animation. So far, no ability, and the new updates have animations, like Majito didn't, Choso didn't, and Hanabi doesn't. Okay, so no animations on the abilities, but I mean, okay support, I guess, for like nature units, you know, the range buff, but for the most part, kind of mid, it looks like. Not very good, I would say. Okay, finally we have Todo. Thank you, Audio, for showcasing, but this is the most chopped showcase of the entire video. Level 53, bro, with Overlord as well, so keep in mind, he's level 53 and Overlord only. But on placement, 165k, 5.63 second SPA, Circle AoE, animation, he goes and slams, and it leaves like a very dark shadow for a long time, but okay. Circle AoE, keep going through the, let's just go through the passives actually. Best Friend, tag the closest eligible same owner unit, redirected stuns to Todo, grant range equal to 20% of Todo's range. So a range buff to the closest unit, okay. Brotherly Beating, mark attacked enemies, their elimination reduces Woogie's cooldown, ability on upgrade at 2, by 2 seconds with a 2-second internal cooldown. Brother, prioritize Itadoki as Best Friend. Let me sit up in my chair, hold on. A Woogie swap makes both immediately attack with plus 100% crit chance and improves cooldown reduction to 3 seconds. So, I guess you get Woogie ability more often, and then it's going to buff the crit chance and make them attack instantly. Okay, so good crit stuff, and I guess because of the way attacks also work in ALS, it probably skips SPA. if you use this. Like, if they're mid-attack and you use this, it'll immediately probably start a new attack. So, could be an okay support, but let's keep going through the upgrades here. We want to audio. Coat Hanger Throw on upgrade 3. Becomes a Circle AoE still. He is hybrid. Looks like a different animation too, there's no giant shadow anymore. And then he has the ability Woogie. Upon activation, select an eligible unit in range and swap positions. Both units gain plus 20% damage for 8 seconds. This buff cannot stack from other Todos. Still, units keep their position, but still receive the buff. Okay, so he's actually a pretty good support, because we have a 20% damage buff and a swap. Okay, not bad, not bad. On top of, you know, the best friend thing with, what is it? Yuji? Best friend thing with Yuji, for the crit buff. So, Rock Throw, upgrade 5. Line AoE, new attack. Animation. He goes in and punches. Okay. Doesn't really look like a Rock Throw to me, but whatever. Max upgrade, 3.6 mil over 4.83. So, really good buffer, really good support, but I mean, overall, he's just kind of okay. Like, his own DPS doesn't look that good. I think that it's just mostly a support unit. I think Hanabi also was mostly a support. So thank you, Audio, for showcasing again. Thank you to all the showcasers in this video. I don't know, I'd say for the most part, looks like Majito and Yuji are the top 2, and then the rest are kind of okay for support. So, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think most of the units were pretty good though, and this is a W update, W comeback for ALS, man. Pretty okay update. But either way, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, hope to see you in the next one, and have a great day.